Good day and welcome to this YouTube video. In this video, we're going to be talking how we're going to be adding images to our web page. And for us to do that, we'll need to use the image tag in our HTML file. So go ahead and open your code editor, and then the only thing I have there is currently an H1 tag which says images. So I'm going to come below it and then add the image tag, which will enable us to add images to our web page. So to add it, the tag we're going to be using is called img, and then Visual Studio Code will help us to complete it by us pressing the enter key on our keyboard. So let me for now erase these attributes and keep things simple so I can explain the image tag. The image tag is a self-closing tag, and what it means is that unlike the H1 tag we've been seeing, or the tags for list we've been seeing, the image tag does not have a closing tag. It only has an opening, and then this is called a self-closing tag. It does not need a closing tag to actually accompany the opening tag. Whatever attributes we need to write for the image can be written as normal, which is in between the img word and the closing angle bracket. So we'll now come there and then we can start writing attributes, and the attributes for us to actually specify the image we want to display on our web page is called src, meaning source. We'll click on enter once we've seen our Visual Studio Code suggesting it to us. Then in between these double braces, that is where we'll put in our file name, which is an image. So currently I do not have any image, so I'll go over and open my web browser, and then in the web browser I can simply open a new tab, and I'm going to search for an image, and let me just search for flower. So I'm going to click on images so as I can see different types and select the ones I like. So I kind of like this one. I'll click on it, then right click, save image as. I'm going to navigate over to where my HTML file is, which is where I have my index.html file, and I'm going to rename the file flower, and I'll click on save. It is being saved. Then I'll go over to my code editor, and then by this place you can see flower.jpg, which is the file of our flower image. So I'll go back to my index.html, and then I'll also reference this file, and I can come in between this source and type it as flower.jpg and then save it. Then I'll go back to my web browser and reload the page. And as we can see, the image is being shown here, the exact image we downloaded from Google. Then let me introduce to you another attribute that is called alt. This attribute actually comes into play when the image file that is meant to be displayed can't be displayed due to one reason or the other, like maybe when it can't be displayed because of a misspelled in the file name. So the attribute alt comes into play when the image file meant to be displayed can't be displayed. So there you can write any word that explains or briefly explains the image meant to be displayed. For this case, I'll write flower icon and then quickly save it. Then I'll go over to my browser and then reload the page. For now, we can't see any difference. So let's say this image can't be displayed for one reason or the other, and the reason I'm going to pick is, let's say instead of me to write flower with a single r, I misspelled it and write double r, and according to the files that is in my HTML folder, there is no image file with the name flower with a double r, and .jpg, there's no file like that. So I'll save it, then head over to my browser and then reload the page, and then we can see the flower icon name, which is what was written in our alt attribute. So this alt, whatever is written here will come into play when the image file can't be displayed due to one reason or the other. So let me quickly erase it and then let the image come back. So I'll go over to my browser to take a look, and there we have it. The image works. So this image is somehow big, and then I would like to reduce the size so as it can easily be seen. So I'll go over to my code editor, and then there's another attribute which is called width, which can help me specify the width I want the image to be. And in this case, I'm going to pick 300, which is 300 pixels, and then height, which also specify the height I want it to be. I also write 300, that's 300 pixels, so it will be in form of a box. I'll go over to my browser and then reload the page to see it, and there we have it. I'll go over to my Visual Studio. Let me create a replica of the image by copying it and pasting it, and there we have it. Save it, go over to my web browser to take a look at it, reload the page, and there we have it. So let me introduce to you another HTML tag. This image, as you can see, they're aligned horizontally, and if I would like to make them be aligned vertically, I can easily break it. And what do I mean? In my code editor, there's another self-closing tag which is called BR. So I'll come over to an end of an image and type in the word BR. It's a self-closing tag and does not need another closing tag. Is on its own is okay, and what this means is break. So after this image, instead of it to come and be aligned horizontally again, it will instead break it into a new line, making it look like a paragraph. So I'll save it, go over to my web browser to take a look, and then reload the page. And as you can see, the BR was being placed here after the first image. The break tag was being placed after the first image, and in our web browser we can see that it is being interpreted such as after the first image, the rest came in underneath it. So the space is still too close, and I would like to actually create more space. I'll go over to my code editor and then type in the word again, BR, creating another form of paragraph. I'll save it, go over to my browser and then reload the page, and this is it. So I want it again after the second image. I'll go over to my code editor and do the same thing I did earlier. Come beneath the second image and then type it twice so as it creates a form of paragraph twice, just breaking it. Then go over to my browser, reload the page, and as you can see, it is now underneath one another. So this is not the only way we can actually display images. We can also display images using links. And what do I mean? Instead of us to actually have the file in our computer, we can actually display, or we can actually copy and paste the link over here, and the image will also be displayed accordingly. So let me quickly show that by copying an image tag and then pasting it below. So I'm going to erase this flower.jpg in this last one and then go over to my web browser to where I actually copy this image from. So this is it, and I'll right click on it and then click on copy image address. The address would have already been copied, so I'll go over to my code editor and then paste the address in the source tag. Then I'll save it, go back to my web browser, reload the page to see if it takes effect, and as we can see, we have a total of 4 images now. And let me also break it after the third image. So in my code editor, I only have to add the break tag twice after the third image, and there we have it. I'll go back to my browser, reload the page, and take a look, and this is it over here. So not only do we need to have the file in our computer before we can actually display the image, we also can use link to relate to the file wherever it is online. And for this link to actually work, your computer needs to be connected to the internet. If it's not connected to the internet, the web browser won't be able to load the image, and instead it will display what is being displayed in the alt attribute, which is flower icon. So I hope you've been able to understand how to use the image tag in this video. If you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thank you.